start recording. For those of you who have never watched any of my videos or have no clue who I am, my name is Lex Huffman, and I'm a double diamond leader with It Works. I've been in the company for almost 2 years now, which is insane to say. But Nat and I today are going to be sharing information about wrap parties that we've been doing, how we've been executing all of this, and promotional boxes, because I know you guys have had so many questions. So I want to make sure to answer all of those. So be sure as you're going through this, number one, that you have pen and paper because you're going to want to take notes. And number two, that you are engaged and are able, I want every single person to come up with at least one question to ask about anything that we have. You can't hear me? You can? Okay, I don't know. You'll have to figure out your audio. So we'll just jump right in, but before we do anything, just because I'm recording this, you might hear Mickey Mouse Clubhouse in the background, and I do not own the rights, so YouTube, please don't flag me. I don't own anything, okay? For those of you who are having audio issues, you might just want to leave and then come back. So Nat and I took notes. I think we'll be pretty good about just popcorning. So Nat, just feel free to unmute yourself if you have anything to say outside of what I'm saying. I think we'll just kind of start going down the list and then we'll just take turns. So the very first thing that we wrote down that we talked a little bit about last night. Oh my God, your little cup. We talked a little bit about this last night, and part of the reason why we switched this Zoom from tonight to this morning is because we are literally so excited about this that we couldn't wait. Like, you saw that we freaking recorded a Zoom in the restaurant last night just because we were so excited to tell you guys about all the things that we're doing. So the very first thing that we wanted to talk about is getting excited. Like, I'm so stoked, and you have to vicariously use our energy and carry that down into not only your team, but your potentials. When you're meeting with people, especially in a one-on-one environment where it's just you and 5 other people, you have to be the life of the party. Like, you can't be awkward in the corner, not knowing what to do. And if this is not your personality, guess what, sis? Me either. I'm very outgoing, but this was so outside of my comfort zone. It was disgusting. You guys, Nat and I were literally sweating. My shirt was sticking to my armpits. I was sweating so much. I'm sure I looked like a maniac, but I don't care. And we told them, like, they had asked because they said, you guys are doing so good, blah, blah, blah. Like, how many of these have you done? And we kind of laughed and looked at them and we're like, actually, this is our first one. And they're like, oh my God, this was so fun. Like, you guys acted like you've been doing this forever. So the key is to act like, hang on, this light is really low.
And you guys, along with that, like, fake it till you make it. Literally, like, just be, if you are doubting yourself, then your other person has to have your back. Like, you got this. Don't even worry about it. It's stuff we talk about every day. It's stuff we know. So you just have to be excited and know when you're like partner, or if you decide to do it by yourself. But if you're doing it with somebody else, just know when they need that hype.
No, 100%. Like, and we can get into that in a sec too, as we continue, because I know we have a few points about that specifically. So let's dive into, we're going to talk about wrap parties first, and then we'll do promotion boxes after. So other than being excited, this is kind of step by step exactly how we went about this. So I decided to make a post, and I made it something like, the first 50 people to drop, and then I put like the spa emoji and like a finger pointing down, are going to win a free spa package on me. And then I put like fine print with a winky face and was like, must be local, must be over 18, and no current distributors. So what that's going to do is, number one, knock out people who are commenting and distributors thinking, like, newbies sometimes just don't know that they can't win, stuff like that, or they don't really get what the post is about. But sometimes obviously distributors will still comment on it just to bump that post for you. But know that you're not going to win it. And then the 18 and up saves your butt a little bit, because there are a lot of young girls who are really into our products and everything, but they can't join and they can't purchase the products without parent approval anyways. So like, it just kills two birds with one stone to make sure that you're saying that. And then also that it's local, right? You're not going to be driving 4 hours to go to a wrap party. Like, I don't know about you. If it was for one of my girls, like if you guys lived further away or something and had multiple scheduled, I would be totally willing to come to you and to help. But I'm not going to schedule one for myself to where I'm going to have to take the entire day to go do that. Like, unfortunately, that's just not going to work. So make sure that you're doing it with local people. And then it just starts blowing up. So people started commenting, and I basically messaged them something like, OMG girl, you just won one of my free spa packs. I'm so freaking excited for you. When's a good date and time for me to come over and pamper a couple of you and your friends? And then I put in parentheses, if 5 or more people show up, you get a $25 Target gift card on me. And then they'll usually respond with a date and time or whatever. And literally it was as simple as that, you guys. Like, she was just like, okay, tell me a little bit more about it. And I just keep it like curiosity. And we're going to touch on this. I know Nat has a lot to say about this too. But curiosity is so important. You want to keep that there. So I didn't disclose too much. I basically said, my friend and I are going to come over and we're just going to pamper you guys. You're going to sit back, relax, hang out with your girlfriends, and just try some of our stuff. And she was like, oh my gosh, that sounds so fun. And she made a girls' night out of it. And I think that that's what I'm going to kind of suggest is like, how often do you get together with your girlfriends anyways? You should just get them together, do a little wine night or whatever. And we're just going to pop in and say hi. It's super quick, fun. So again, creating that excitement. But basically that was how my message structure looked. And then Nat, do you want to touch on like what we brought and everything?
Yeah, so what we did was, let me pull up my notes again so I don't mess anything up. So we did like to start off an icebreaker. So we just kind of wanted to like get to know these girls, kind of feel their vibe on like, you know, where they're at and stuff. So we did like a little game where everyone writes one fact and we put it in like a little mug and everyone picks out the fact or whatever. And hopefully it actually happened twice that they got their own. But, you know, it's a small group, whatever. You just got to make shift. And so you just have to guess who wrote that fact. So we just did that as like an icebreaker, just kind of like get to know each other.
It was so
even
fun.
Though those girls knew each other.
They were crap.
They were because they kept picking their own. So it was just, we made it fun. You have to be like excited and fun about it. And we're like, oh, we're so lame. We brought a game to start off and just kind of joked about it. And then we did, we brought coffee, we brought wraps, we brought Dr. Nassif's beauty line, Refresh, Thermophyte X cleanses, and facials. So we did a little bit of kind of like skincare portion and then also like a little bit into like weight loss. So we just brought all that. Do you want me to talk about like in the order we did it?
Yeah, I think we should just jump into like exactly how we went about it. So why don't you start talking all the way down to about where I started doing her facial so that everybody could see.
Okay, so again, we did the icebreaker game. So we were just having fun with that, joking about it. And then what we did was we had them make their own coffee. So I brought a frother, and actually the host had gotten a frother previously from Lex. So we had 2 frothers there. So everybody had a mug. We brought coffee and chocolate greens, and we had everybody make their own, just as like a fun little, here's kind of what it's about. We explained what the coffee is, you know, and one girl was like a mom. She's like, I'm never going to sleep. And me and Lex were like, no, trust me, you'll be great. Like, it'll be fine. So you just have to like be knowledgeable about that. And that's just, it's fun because they're like frothing and they're like splashing the water everywhere. Cause you know, not everyone knows how a frother works, i.e. me. Anyways, like, so it was just fun. It was fun. And then we started talking about how like the host gets free product. Oh, actually I lied. What we did was we sat down, we drank our coffee, and then Lex and I kind of just explained what the business does for us, how we run it, you know, a little bit about the team, what our plans for this year. And we just kind of talked about our journey specifically. And even though Lex cried, it was okay. And then, so then we went back to the kitchen and we just kind of used the host as like a mannequin, and I'll let Lex go into that one.
Okay, so the very first thing that I wanted to add on to what she was saying was, you guys, this is so huge to get them hands-on. Nat and I could have very easily let them sit at the table. They were all sitting down at the table, and Nat and I were kind of standing up talking to them. We could have very easily made the coffee for them. But create the hands-on environment, get them to interact, because that's where the magic happens, right? Like we call them try it events for a reason. They need to try it. So not only do I want them tasting it, but I also want them to see how they make it, especially because if they do sign up on the spot and they're going to be a loyal customer, they already know how to make the coffee. They already know they need a frother. They already know that I love it with Italian sweet cream creamer. You know what I'm saying? So just back to the product knowledge also, Nat went into some stuff that I didn't even know about where our coffee was sourced from, or excuse me, the wraps, where our wraps were from, how long we've had them, like all these different things. And then I was a little bit more knowledgeable about like other areas that Nat wasn't. So one thing that I do want to add before we jump into anything else is like, well, actually, no, we'll cover that in a second. Anyways, product knowledge is huge. So if you don't know a lot about the products and you want to have one of these, have a leader or your upline with you. And yeah, we just sat down and told them about the company a little bit. And because it was our first one, we did word vomit a little bit, and Nat and I talked about that in the car afterwards. It is so, like I said earlier, so key to create curiosity. Do not disclose everything. Do not start talking about the income, like disclosure and how the pays work or whatever. If they ask, you can tell them these are the 4 ways that we get paid, but you don't need to jump into specifics. You don't need to, like, word vomit is the best word. So we just told, like, okay, we've been in the business for almost 2 years. I started crying because I started talking about the things that this business has allowed me to do. And then I started talking about what this business is going to do for me. And it made me think of my mom, right? And y'all know I want to start paying for all of her stuff, and we don't need to get into that. But it's okay to be vulnerable and to start talking about that. They're not to be like totally discriminatory, but they were all women in the room. So when you create that emotional connection, they automatically trusted me. They saw the emotion in my heart and soul that this has truly worked for me. And like, I'm not just here to give them some spiel, right?
Yeah, to tag along with that, they want to know you're like a real person. Like they just want to know you're real. Like you're not just sitting there saying, oh, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. Like that just shows them you have feelings, you're real, you have reasons and such like that. So I think that was huge.
No, 100%. It's so key. The other thing too, like right after they were done making our coffee, you have to be really good about transitionary periods and making sure that it's not awkward. So when you see that the conversation's kind of dying off, it's time for you to make the next move. So after we made our coffee, everybody was kind of enjoying it, whatever. And I made the first move of, okay, well, why don't we all go sit down on the couch really quick? I'm totally going to be that person that's going to take 5 minutes of your time. I love to spoil all of you, but I do have to make a point as to why I'm here, right? So we sat them down. They were all, and this was so, like, we will do this every time, to have them make the coffee and then sit down, because they're all sitting there sipping on their coffee, enjoying it while we're telling our story. So they don't have the opportunity to have their phone in their hands or be distracted with something else. They're already focused with something in their hand, and the only thing that they can focus on now is me. So then we can talk about the host and everything. So the host is always going to get whatever they want for free, period. They're hosting. And the coolest part about this is that all the people that are there because they know the host, right? So when they see their friend trying stuff and their results, they're going to trust it even more than they trust me. Okay. So I asked her, and this was kind of how I presented it, was, okay, obviously Lacey, I'm using her name because I know she won't care. Lacey, you get to try whatever you want for free because you hosted the event. Thank you so much. But for the rest of you, we have small samples that you can use for free, or we have 2 different options that you can do. The first option is either a wrap or a facial for $25, or both for $50. Again, you can totally do the small sample sizes for free if you want. We walked them back over to the counter, and I started getting the host excited. So I was like, okay, let's start with you washing your face. Do you have any makeup on right now? And she was like, no. I'm like, perfect. Use this refresh. Tell me how you love it. So she was in the kitchen washing her face. Her friends are all watching her. Nat's over there kind of talking. We're all kind of joking about it. We took her before pictures. And then I turned to the group and I said, okay, so what do you guys want to try? You want to try a wrap or do you want to try a facial? And then some of them said, whatever. And I was like, okay, perfect. Do you want to try the small just sample, or do you want to do a full size for $25? And that's where the sales came up. So I told you guys a little bit about this last night. I personally push really hard for distributors. Number one, because of fast starts, duh. And number two, because people need this business, duh. And also number three, because they're gonna love the products anyways, and they're probably gonna end up joining your team anyways, and it brings volume. Okay, distributors bring volume. We've been talking so much on this team specifically about new blood. This is the perfect way to do this. Matt and I could have very easily sat there and made $50+ that night off of selling wraps and facials and product that we had on hand. Instead, I basically upsold them or whatever and was like, hey, you're going to spend $25 on a wrap to try for one time when I just told you that the kits are discounted right now. So it's $69 for you to get started, and you're going to get over $120 worth of product in your kit. And then you're going to earn an additional $100 shopping spree. So would you rather get one product for $25 or a license to make money and over $200 worth of product for $40 more? And that's an easy sell, right? Like, they were already interested. We've already talked about the business. They already wanted to try the products. Now I'm asking the question. The other way you could go about this is asking everyone in particular, okay, do you see yourself more just trying the products or trying the products and getting paid? You don't give them an option for anything else. It's going to be one or the other. So do you see yourself just trying the products, or do you see yourself getting paid? And they're going to say one or the other, and then you can jump into that conversation. And then again, either ask for the sale or ask for them to become a distributor. The key is to not walk away if they're interested with leaving. Connor would tell you the exact same thing with car sales. You know, the second that person walks off the lot, you are 60 to 90% more less likely to sign or sell that vehicle, right? You don't let them walk off the lot. There's going to be 3 other people that talk to them before they walk away, right? So you want to have them join on the spot. So this girl was so nervous, so nervous. And again, building that trust. Both of us were talking to her like, you know, what questions do you have? What's making you nervous? I still had to talk her off the ledge later that night, even though she signed her first distributor within 10 minutes. Because that's just reality. People are going to be nervous, and you have to let them know that that's completely normal. All of us were in that position at one point. So you have to remember what it was like to click submit. You have to remember what it was like to be in a room full of 5 people and you're not sure if they're going to support you. The coolest part was all of her friends were like, dude, just do it. Like, all you have to do is click submit. You've already filled everything else out. So not only did she have me as a support system, but she also had those people there. And that's probably why she joined. Had I walked away and followed up with her after to see if she wanted to enroll and those people weren't there and she was by herself, the devil attacks you when you're alone, right? So she wouldn't have stepped outside her comfort zone. Anyways, I would prefer to make or enroll a distributor than to make fast cash. So Nat, did you have anything to add on to that before I go on to the next thing?
I'm kind of going to tag along on with the whole, like, with her friends watching her results. You guys, they were like, whoa, look at that. Like, and what we did was we took their before picture and then their after picture and we put it in the app. So it had like the little, you know, boxes and stuff like that. So we could show them like, look, here's your before and after. And both of them were like, oh my God. And the other, like, there was one girl who genuinely was not interested in any of it, but she was just there because her friends were doing it. She came, whatever. But she was like, wow, I'm surprised. Like, that rap really did something for one of her other friends. And then one of her other friends, so one thing I actually want to touch on was Lex said this perfectly. So one of the girls was like, I really want to try a rap, but I also want to start, but I really want to try a rap first. And so Lex said, I'm trying to remember the exact verbiage you used. You said something along the lines of, okay, so you're acting like you're interested in the business. Why don't you just sign up and you're going to get your wraps in your packet? It was something along that line, but it was said so perfectly that she was like,
I basically said, because she wanted to try the wraps and she didn't want to join, I was like, well, you're acting like you kind of want to join. How about this? If you join tonight with Lacey, because I know she's going to join, and I kind of like peeked her in the corner and like laughed at her, I'll give you the wrap for free. You can wrap for free right now if you're joining. Are you kidding? And she was like, oh my gosh, no, I don't want you to have to do that. I'm like, girl, if you're joining and you're starting your own business, wrap up.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, it was that I think put that in her mind and was like, oh, okay, well, wow, I didn't really realize that, or I didn't even know, whatever. And then we showed her results and she was like, oh my God, like I didn't even see that or whatever. Well, because you never really see it on yourself until you take a picture, you know? So that's what we were explaining. We do like result picture. So it's huge when you're doing all that, facials or washing the face or whatever, take pictures for them and show them, because that's what's going to prove to them that these products work, these products are real. We're not just there to make money or whatever. And like Lex was saying, have all options open. If somebody is like, oh, I kind of want to start, but I kind of want to join, I kind of want to try that though, like just give them that option. Well, you can do it for free when you join, you know, like sign up, we'll wrap you. While you're wrapped, was we literally wrapped her and then we were like, all right, ready, let's get ready, sign up. We didn't really give them an option. We wrapped them and said, all right, well, we're waiting for the 45 minutes for your results. Perfect time to start up.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think too, hang on, I'm just reading my notes. The other thing is, like Nat was saying, there was a girl who wasn't interested, but it's so important, regardless of whether or not they're interested, to make everyone feel extremely comfortable and a part of it. Hang on, let me pin my video. This is so frustrating. My Zoom is like being so weird. So when you're talking, make sure, I would catch myself, because I've taken like speech classes. So eye contact is so important. So I was catching myself looking at the host a lot. And so I would catch myself and force myself to, as I'm talking, scan the room. Like, even if you're not like looking at people, like look at their forehead. I don't know if it makes you uncomfortable, but make sure that you're looking at everyone as you're having conversation, and that you're including everyone regardless of what's going on. So the other thing that I wanted to say is, even if there's not, let's say no one is interested, you're still going to walk away with every single person's contact info, because you're going to then bring up free spa packs again. So you're going to say something like, well, for us, it was a little bit more like organic, but if you were walking away, or if I was in another situation, I would just be like, well, let me get all of your guys' contact info. Here's a pen and paper for you to write it down, because you guys are going to get a chance to win a Target gift card and a free spa package yourself too. And that's huge, because that's how you keep the ball rolling, you guys, that's networking, right? You want to get those contact infos, and then you're going to message them. Like Nat and I are immediately going to follow up with all those girls today. We're going to split them 50-50, and we're both going to text them and be like, oh my gosh, girl, it was so good to meet you last night. Thank you so much for coming. And like, for example, Katie, who wasn't super interested, I would just be like, Katie, I know that you weren't like super in love with the business or anything, but like, I would love to send you some free coffee. Or I would love to offer you the same type of deal, or whatever. You know what I mean?
And that's huge, because while we were sitting on the couch, the girl that was not interested was like, I really like this coffee. The texture is great. Like, it tastes good. It's not bad. And she was so nervous to try it. She was so nervous to try the wrap, because she just told herself she wasn't interested. But that's why it's so important to, even though if you see them not being interested, if you see them not paying attention to you or whatever, engage with them. Like, okay, come on, you have to try a small wrap. Like, all your friends are doing it or whatever, or try the coffee. Like, if you hate it, just toss it, you know, like make them feel like they're still included.
Okay, so let's start talking about, hang on, I'm just going to change this view all around. Okay, there we go. Let's start talking about the partnership aspect. So you're really going to want to find, especially if you've never done something like this before, someone who can do this with you. My first suggestion would be your upline. Okay. After that, totally feel free to ask whoever you want, but we want to make sure that it's always fair. So before we even went into this event, Nat and I had a conversation about, okay, how are we going to split this up? Because if all 5 people want to enroll, we've got to make sure that it's not just one person getting all of these enrollments, right? So 2 things on that. Number 1, it should be split 50-50. You both are there. You're both doing the work. You're both bringing your products. If people enroll on the spot, one person's helping one person, another person's helping another, then you switch, whatever. Having said that, last night is a perfect example of creating fairness in an environment that was, I don't know, different. Anyways, this girl that we went to last night has been a PDT of mine for well over a year. I'm talking like since I first started this. So I looked at Nat before we even got out of the cart and I said, look, this girl has been a potential of mine for so long. So I'm just going to be honest and I'm going to try and get her to join tonight. And like, she's going to be my distributor, not to be frank, like to be frank. And Nat was like, totally, dude. And again, like I told you guys on the Zoom last night, Nat could have easily signed that other girl on her website while I was enrolling my personal distributor. But the whole point is that we're trying to create layered leadership and show people how to do this. And we immediately showed Lacey, the girl who I enrolled, how to enroll a distributor, how to not only make her money back, but she's got 3 other friends in the room now who are potentials for her. And she can immediately be boxed for a $500 average a month promotion. Like, show them how simple it is. I told her, you only need 2 more distributors and you're going to be boxed for an income that's well over $500 if you're working this right. So I think that that's huge. I don't know if you want to talk about that. I know we have like other stuff to talk about on the next point, but just about like fairness and equality.
I don't know, just hear your partner out. Like, you have to really make sure that you guys speak about what each of your expectations are prior to it, because yeah, I totally could have been like, oh, I'm going to take this other girl while Lex is signing up that girl. But instead, do you want me to talk about like how I separated myself? Okay, so instead, well, I saw Lex signing Lacey, and then Lacey's friend was talking to Lex, asking the questions, the other one that wanted to sign up. I went over and sat next to the other 2 girls who were kind of like off on their own doing whatever. And I was just like, so what are you going to school for, Katie? And then the other girl's a mom. And I'm like, how old's your baby? Like, what's your baby's name? And what do you do for a job? And, you know, she works at pediatrics. So I vibed with her because I worked previously at pediatrics. And then I'm talking to Katie again. I'm like, oh, so you like horses? Like, I don't know anything about horses. Like, tell me about horses, you know? And so I just saw the room and noticed that Lex was really focusing on those 2. And I separated myself to focus on the other ones because I was like, I want to make everybody feel involved. So I went and just pulled up a chair next to them, was like, what's up, y'all? Like, how y'all doing tonight? Like, no, but you got planned this weekend, you know, just looking and having that like partnership where each of you guys can feel like you have your backs or whatever. Like, where I saw Lex was taking care of these girls, I'm like, I'm going to go over here and take care of these girls. Or I'm not just going to sit over here and focus on the ones that are trying to sign tonight while these girls over here aren't doing anything, you know?
Talk about the bracelets.
Oh, okay. So I was just kind of like talking to the girls, and one of this other girl that was there, Abigail, she was just kind of like, hey, like, do you wear bracelets? And I was like, I'm gonna be honest, like, I'm not a jewelry girl, but I was like, I could wear bracelets. Why? You make bracelets? Like, just, I don't know, trying to ask her questions. And she goes, well, one of my friends is he's making these bracelets and he's donating meals for kids. And I just was like, you shut up. Like, oh my, are you kidding? I'm like, literally, we are doing the same thing. And like, every pound you lose. So I explained the campaign and the premium package and all that. And her and I just vibed over that so quickly because she's like, you're doing that? Like, that's amazing. Like, I can't believe your company has enough money to do that. And I'm like, yeah, literally, we like every single person. I'm like, and I told her, I'm like, we're in the freaking US, we're in the Philippines, we're in Mexico. Like, I'm like, any person, we have a tracker. You just add on how much weight you've lost. So for instance, like, you lose 4 pounds, you know, that's 16 meals right there. So I was like vibing with her about this. And then Katie got herself involved and was like, that's really neat. Your company's doing that. And it's just like finding different ways to incorporate very good things about the business. Like, this was just a random conversation. She was flipping through Facebook and was like, oh, hey, do you wear bracelets? I just thought I'd offer this or whatever. And I was like, shut up. We're doing the same exact thing. Like, it was just wild. And so that's why it's super important to know your audience and sit down and talk to the other people if your friend is off here doing this.
No, totally. And one thing that I wanted to touch on too about that is Nat and I made it really apparent because the other girls have like heard of / their family are in other network marketing companies, and they were really afraid of carrying inventory. It is so key to tell people if they are potential distributors that they don't carry any inventory. They don't have to pay anything other than the $69. Their first month of their website is free. Like, that's all you have to go over. and making sure that people know, like I said, I was like, I've been in other network marketing companies and you are just a number. And I spent way more than I ever made. Like, this company is so amazing. I just hyped it up. But then I told this story that I told you guys the other day about that girl. I can't remember her name. Gosh, I wish I could. But she was on a Zoom, on that Diamond and Above leadership Zoom that I was on with Cammie. And she was like, when she was in the company, she left the company and went somewhere else, came back, and she was at conference, and Mark came up to her and hugged her and was like, welcome home. And all of them just thought that that was so cool, because we are such a huge company. And the fact that our CEO, our owner, knows you by name, knows your husband's name, knows your kid's name, knows what you're going through, it does not exist anywhere else, y'all. Like, you don't understand how freaking good you have it and how good Mark and Cindy are to us. Like, our corporate team is we are so blessed. So I made a point about that, and they really liked that too. And then the other thing was, hang on.
Like, just make sure it's a good fit. Like, had I gone in there and Lex hadn't said anything about her being a PDT, I should have totally swooped the show on accident, and I would have never known if Lex hadn't voiced that. So make sure you guys really talk about like what you both are wanting, how you're going to do this. If one person signs, you know, how it's fair to where to place that person, or if there's one DT, one LC or whatever, it's almost only fair that that DT gets the LC, and then you figure out where that person goes. So you just really have to be fair and vocalize and talk.
100%. And the goal is, you guys, to have the person, the host, your goal is to have the host enroll as a DT, period. And every single person there should be placed under them. Not placed, personally enrolled by them. They sign up as a distributor first, and every single person in that room is going to their website. They immediately have their first 4 customers. Guess what that means for you? You immediately just fast started your distributor in all of 10 minutes.
And I think that's a lot of what helped Lacey last night, was when she realized one of her friends really wanted to do it too, because her friend was expressing how she couldn't pay her rent and her boyfriend is trying to cover them while they're newly engaged. That was really hard for her to say, like, out loud. She was so embarrassed about it. And I was like, there are so many people on this team who are in that position. Like, in that position, or have been in that position and are trying to make it out or whatever. I'm like, you just have to relate. It's so important. And I think a lot of what one of the other friends that wasn't really interested or whatever, she was like, this really sounds like something you would succeed at. And she was so supportive, minus that she didn't want to do it. She didn't want any products or anything. That's fine. But she was really supporting her friend, was like, hey, I really see you making a future in this. Like, you're going to do great. This is something that's going to fit around your schedule. Like, there's no other reason why you should say no, like, or should say yes, or whatever. You know what I mean? So, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I want to make sure that everybody's still awake. Drop a 1 if you're still listening to us, because I can't see everyone's faces. And some of you are looking tired. Okay. No, I think that's so key. And then the other thing that we wanted to talk about is putting good vibes out all day long. When you know that you have a wrap party scheduled, you've got to be in the right headspace. We were jamming to music. We were doing all the things. We were like, okay, we're going to get a drink after and celebrate. This can be so good. Like, literally, that was our energy. And it seemed so silly, but like, literally walking up to the driveway, I said, nah, hang on a sec. Because I got like nerves, and not cold feet, but just nerves. And I literally stood in a power pose, you can ask her, for almost 30 seconds before we walked through that door. Because I was like, I need a sec. Like, straight up. So you've got to be excited. You've got to see the signs. The universe literally will drop so much to you. It's disgusting. So preach it, pray it.
And that kind of goes along with know your partner. Like, have somebody who will hype you up, have somebody who will support you or make you feel like, like, hey, you're going into this, you've been in the business for a year, like, you freaking know about the coffee, don't act like that. Like, that was literally me to her. I'm like, what are you doing? I was like, you're literally fine. Like, we're going in here, we're just going to talk to a bunch of girlies about what we do every day. It's no different than when we're typing it, you guys. You're just speaking it. You know what you're typing. So why can't you remember what you're speaking? So it's just like, it's just people. It's like, or what I was telling Lex was I literally was like, say underwear in your head 500 times so that you remember what you're doing. Just be like underwear, baseball. I don't know, whatever you need to do. Like, what you're doing.
Yeah, and just having that confidence. Like, I'm going to go into that in a sec, but the other thing too is like I was saying about the signs, like we were talking about last night, front row parking everywhere we're going, that bus, like if you are conscious enough and are in line with source energy, I'm going to get a little hippy dippy for you for a sec, you will get signs, but you have to be quiet enough to listen and to be aware of your surroundings because they're always there. It's always being shown to you. Just sometimes you don't see it. Go ahead.
It's like the bus thing last night. We were literally on the freeway. We weren't even like playing music that loud. We were just driving. Lex was messaging her new DTs, or well, the new DTs or whatever. Like, I'm so excited. And I literally just like looked over at this bus that was getting on the ramp, like just minding its own business. And all of a sudden it just says, be fearless, step out of your comfort zone. And I literally just like looked over at Alexa and was like, I can't even speak right now. I have goosebumps. And I lifted up my shirt. My hairs were literally like straight up and I had all these bumps on my arm. And I was like, I don't know whether to be like kind of scared or really freaking happy right now. She's like, what's going on? Like, I'm confused. And I was like, I almost want to stop on the freeway right now just to wait for this bus. Like, I almost did. I was like, just to wait for this bus so I can show you what this damn bus said. I was like, this is literally nuts. And she was like, you're joking. I'm like, no, dude. I almost want to like reverse on the freeway just to like find this bus. Like, it was wild.
No, it's so true. But it just goes back to like the second you wake up that morning, like especially if you know that you have an in-person event that day, you are doing self-development and journaling before anything else. Before you go to that event, I don't care if it's listening to self-development, blasting music and screaming it, FaceTiming your buddy, like whatever it is, call your mom. I don't know. You have to do whatever you have to do so that you walk in there so freaking confident, you own the place. You own the place. You own that floor. And you have to have the confidence to do it. That comes from using the products and having belief in this company, y'all. It's so true. You are transmitting energy with every single word that you speak. Every single word. And even if you don't say anything, your face is telling it. So you put a smile on that face. Like, seriously, we have to be like so happy and so excited. And it is so fun if you do that. Like, it's so true. Yeah, when we were sitting down telling them about our story, like we started talking about, like, don't make it just about the business or just about the products. It is both. We can offer everything to you. I said to them, I said, you guys, everybody wants to look or feel better or make money, and I have a solution for all three. Which category do you fall under? And then we started talking about our results. Nat's lost over 40 pounds. I've lost over 70. We're talking about it. Nat starts immediately bringing up her stretch mark results because a girl's talking about her friend who she knows has stretch marks and wants to get rid of them. That's going to be that girl's first customer. And guess what? That girl signed up as a distributor. So now she's really going to have her first customer. Okay, so you can also ask for referrals in this situation. Like, hey, do you know anyone else who would love to do this? Or do you know anyone? I know, like, Katie, for example, wasn't super interested, but you bet if she's not interested in getting a free wrap party herself, that we're going to be like, okay, perfect. Would you by chance want to try the coffee then? And if she doesn't want to try the coffee, I'm going to be like, no worries, girl. Do you know anyone who would? I know you liked it when you were there. Or I know you liked the wrap because she tried more than one thing. So get creative. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And then we just talked about, or we wrote down, show up to go up, sacrifice. And we talk about this with everything. We talk about it with conference. We talk with any event. We talk about it with just showing up on your business on a day-to-day scale to do your 6 list. You have to show up. We have to show up. I have to show up for my business, just like I have to show up for my child every day. And when you start treating it like that, because you guys, this is the only reason there's food on my table, let's be super clear. You have to treat it like it is life or death. What battlefield are you willing to die on? I've said that the last 4 Zooms, right? So we can continue to do, and I'm going to obviously continue to do what I've been doing. My social media is not going anywhere, and yours shouldn't either. This is not a trade-off. You are implementing wrap parties into what you're already doing. You don't slow down. That doesn't mean that yesterday I did not sit there and I didn't put it in the chat, but I still sent 100 messages before I went to bed. And I had already sent 100 earlier that day. So don't think that this is just me telling you to slow down on social media and get belly to belly. No, boo-boo. We're doing both. 10x. This year is about tripling our efforts. I don't care what you have to do. Make time for it. This is not a roast on you. It's a roast on me. Like, I'm literally looking at myself right now because we have said, and Nat and I talked about it last night, we've said for almost 6 months, Mads and I even, that we were going to do these parties and haven't. And I can't tell you, especially after last night, how much I'm freaking kicking myself. We would already be a triple diamond team, period. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. We would already be there. And I can either be upset about that or I can learn from that and start busting my ass right now to get it going. So I'm going to do as many freaking wrap parties as I can before conference, because even if they don't all sign me right now, I'm getting names. How much have we been talking about building your hundreds list? We have to be prepared. And if you're not getting them through messaging, then your butt better be hitting street. You're going door to door. So, Nat, did you have anything to add about that? I know you wanted to like spit some fire, baby.
Yeah, a little bit maybe. Hold on, I readjusted because I was like, oh, I'm so
Are you going to talk about what you just put in the chat? Because I really hope you are.
Yeah. So yesterday we had initially had one scheduled at like 4 o'clock or something, and that girl canceled and it just didn't work out. So I was like, okay, well, I guess there's no reason to drive it to Malala, love your face. But I was like, I'm just going to hang out with my friends who invited me to come over, have some beers, like watch some movies, just have a girls' night in. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm super excited. I'll be there around like 6 or whatever. And Lex was like, hey, any chance, like, I know this is super late. Mind you guys, this was like 3 hours before the party. Was like, I just had a girl schedule a wrap party. I was like, cool, when? She's like, tonight, 6 p.m. And I'm like, fudge. Okay. I'm like, you know what? What the hell? I'm like, let's do this. Like, sure. So I texted my girlies and was like, hey guys, I'm really sorry. The wrap party that I was going to go to is back on. Like, slightly lied about it, but I was like, and my friend is Mary Kay. So she's like, oh, I totally understand. Like, go do your thing, have fun, call us when you're done or something, let us know when you're done. And I was like, okay. And I was nervous going into it, but I was excited, I was like, all right, this is my first one. And I like to think that I'm good at talking to people and like I can crack a joke or whatever and just be fine with it. So the whole time I was like, oh, maybe I wanted to go to the girls' night. I was like, this is going to suck. I'm like, I hope I don't go there and like, these people are like not, wanting to do anything and I'm just wasting my time, my products. But instead, like I picked up Lex and I was like, you know what? I'm really excited. And prior to going to the party, we dropped off a bunch of promo boxes, which we'll get into the details about that later. But we dropped off a bunch of those and it was just like such a good feeling. The employees were like, oh, we'll go into all that. But anyway, so it just like hyped me up. And I was like, you know what? This was a really good thing. Come after the party where we were like hugging each other, dancing outside of her freaking front door. Like we couldn't even make it to the end of her driveway. We had to literally like hug each other at the front door. We were like, this was like the best night we've had in a while. Like it was almost like we were a part of their girls' night because we just like affiliated ourselves in that and we made them feel like we were really close with them. And we just went into it, both of it, like, screw it. What do we have to lose? Like, this is our first one. We'll figure out what works, what doesn't work. But it was so great, you guys. And that's the whole like show up to go up sacrifice. Like I sacrifice time with my friends who I haven't seen in a while. I don't normally get time out like without Zayden, especially recently with his arm broken. And so like, it was just something that I needed to show myself that if I sacrifice my stuff, like just small little diddly things, it is so rewarding. Anyway, so that's just a little bit of that. And then also there was a little key point we put in this where like, if you don't have product, or you don't feel like you have enough product, don't be afraid to ask. Between Mads has like 500 wraps on her right now. Lex has like 37 bags of coffee probably in her back pocket. And like between me, I've got skincare to the max. So like you guys, there's between all of us or any of your uplines or whatever, like there is product around. And if you need it, we're willing to help you share it, do what we can. If we're going with you, ask me to bring it or whatever. So if you're afraid of doing these parties because you don't have the money to get products, just ask. Be vocal, use your words like, I need help and this is how I could use help. Great, I've got a solution. Let me bring everything out. Easy. So that's just a little bit of the whole sacrifice thing. It's so rewarding. All the above.
So rewarding, y'all. And the key thing that I think you said that I really want to reiterate is you should be treating every single person in that room like it's your best friend. Not only did we like make sure that we were involving everyone, but every single person in that room felt like, and I'm sure they did because I did, felt like I knew them forever. Like it was so comfortable and so organic, but that is literally only because of the environment that we created. It very easily could have been awkward, silent, nobody knows what to say. Like you have to walk in there with such confidence. And that's why I'm saying if you don't have that yet, that's okay. But the person you bring, better. Don't bring someone else who is your downline and has less confidence than you do. Okay? Go up for situations like this. Yes, definitely. Okay, let's go into, first of all, does anybody have any questions on wrap parties? One more thing I want to say while you're putting your questions in the chat about this, because everyone should be putting at least one for this, is Nat and I both said in the car that we need to be a lot better about talking less and asking more questions. We did not ask nearly enough questions. Asking about what they did for work, what they needed, whatever. Yes. So she said, if I don't have a local upline, do I just do solo? Yes, and or seriously FaceTime me. And I'll be propped up and I'll tell my story and I can help guide you through as much as I can. You and I will do a one-on-one Zoom before so that we can kind of do a trial run and I can show you how to generate and lead the conversation and everything, but I can totally be there for all of that. The other thing is too, sis, is that I can ask in leadership chats. There are totally diamonds and above in your area for sure. So if you're comfortable with that too, and you'd rather have an like in-person person there, I can always go to my presidential upline and ask our presidential upline and ask if she knows of anyone in the area too. So you're not alone. What if you don't have enough samples to give away? If you don't have enough samples to give away, buy some or ask us for some. It's a write-off and y'all should have at least some at a given time. So even if it's just one extra bag of coffee on hand, that's $39 that you now get to write off. If you like seriously can't afford it though, Venmo me $5 and I will ship a bunch to you. Or if you're local, I'll go with you and I'll just bring all my stuff. What do you do when you don't get a lot of activity on your wrap party post? There's a couple things you can do. Number one, message for it. Like start finding people who are local in your area and message them. Say, especially people who are already your potential customers. And I know that you have a ton that are local. And I would immediately message them and be like, hey, I know you haven't been able to afford product recently, but I know you've been really, really, really wanting to get it. I'm totally willing to come to your house and pamper you and give you a complete spa package with some of the stuff that you've been wanting to try. And that will entice them too. So you're saying that you're going to give them the free product that they already wanted. You're going to just basically send the message that I said before. So like, I want to come over. What's a good time and date for me to come over and pamper you and 5 of your friends? You're also not only on top of the product that I'm going to give you that you've been wanting, you're going to have a chance to win a $25 gift card too. So that, and then I would seriously message all of your friends and family who are local and be like, hey, if there's ever been a time to support me, now is the time. I will bring you and your mom friends, whatever, pizza and a bottle of wine. If you will get some girlfriends together, there's no pressure for y'all to buy anything, but please give me an hour of your time. Like, it's time to beg. Yes, I will put the scripts of the message in the, actually, Mads, I just sent it to you. Will you put that in the Dream Team chat for me? Okay, any other questions? These are so good. Nat, did you have anything to add on top of what I've already said or no? Okay. So let's go into promotional boxes. This is so fun. Okay, hang on, one more question. Oh, just lots of blitzes. Love to partner with someone. Krista, I'll come with you literally whenever. Hands down. Okay, so promo boxes. First of all, I want to start with saying these do not have to be expensive. You can get everything that you need at the Dollar Tree. So there is no excuse not to do this. On top of the fact that it's a business write-off. So come the end of the year, y'all are going to have so much stuff to write off. It's disgusting, especially if you've been in this business for a couple months. We can talk about that more later. But everything that you're purchasing for this is for your business. So what we did is, number one, you're going to want to find a container. So we got glass jars. You don't have to be that fancy. You literally can order like a big set of like boxes and stuff for them, and I can send you the link to it off Amazon. You can go to Dollar Tree and literally get like, they have like gift boxes that are meant for like gift cards, and you can take this stuff out and cut a hole and you can do that. There's so many ideas. Mason jars are so cheap, y'all. It's ridiculous. So there's ways that you can go about it that are affordable. Nat, do you want to talk about the decoration part since you did that and I need to get open?
Yeah, you're good. So what I just did is, shoot, I should have had one on hand. Our little glass jars, turn it, I don't have one, I think they're in the car still. So anyways, our little glass jars have like a little, we did two types. The first one, I couldn't find anything else and was like, screw it, we need these faster than not. So I just got like a giant mason jar, and it has like a little clip on the top. So we were going to unhook the clip and hold it so the top of the jar was like out. And I just decorated like a 3x3 sticker, super cheap, off like Vistaprint or whatever, and ordered a ton of those. And basically it just says enter to win a free spa day, and it's like decorated cute. Since we haven't gotten those in the mail yet, what I just did is I took like a colored piece of paper, made like a square, pretend that's a square or a rectangle, I mean. And then I used one of these little cheapo stickers I got off like this 99-cent thing from Michael's. And I just put like enter to win a free spa. And so I put the sticker on the pink piece of paper, and I literally just taped it on the jar and was like, this is gonna have to work. And we didn't have any raffle tickets or anything like that that had shown up yet. So I had to hand make all raffle tickets. I literally made like 300 raffle tickets off like those wedding, what are they? I don't even know what they're called. They're like the little things that have the name on them, you know, that you like fold over. Anyone know what those called? But for weddings, like the seating chart thingies. So I took those and I cut them in half, and I literally at the top, I wrote name, phone number, email. And so I just put 3 lines in the middle of it, and I just made 300 of those. And on the back wrote enter to win a free spa day. I'm not kidding. And then granted, I literally was doing the last 12 and the freaking raffle tickets had shown up. So I was pissed. Moral of the story was like, you just have to be creative. Even if you guys go and you cut like little rectangles out of plain piece of paper. I'm just super green, so I like to have my stuff looking all nice and fancy. But you can literally not waste your time like that and just like cut out little pieces of squares. Just make sure they kind of all look the same, because when you stack them, you don't want like, and that's why I chose those cards, is because you don't want like different colors or different sizes or whatever, because somebody's gonna grab it and be like, oh, this looks like shit, I probably don't want this for a free package or whatever, you know. So kind of make it look nice. I can show you guys a picture of it or send it in the chat later or whatever. I should have had one on hand, but they're definitely still in the truck from when we dropped off, so I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's totally fine. Okay, that's perfect. And then did you already talk about like the what people were writing down and how they were winning and stuff?
What they were writing down was their name, phone number, and their email, and then they just put it back in the jar. And we told the managers and stuff, like, we'll come back once or twice a week, or I'm sorry, once to 2 weeks or whatever, you know what I'm trying to say, 1 to 2 weeks, and we'll look at the whoever has put it in or whatever. And what we're going to do is we're going to take them out, and we're literally going to message every single person like, hey, I saw that you entered for the free spa package at San Blas in Malala, like, you're the winner. And I haven't come up with an exact script or whatever, but it's going to be something along like, we're going to host a free spa day at your house, so if you want to bring 4 or 5 of your friends, if you bring 5, we're also doing a $25 gift card. And that is totally not what you have to do. You can do like, we're going to give away a free mug or something like that. Like, that's just something we had agreed on last night, was like, if there are 5 people here, we'll do that. And Lex goes, I hope you don't mind, but I kind of offered you up for it. And I'm like, all right, I'm down. Like, but just make it, like, you have to make it fun. So that's what we had agreed on. Anybody five people or more, like, that's what we'll do. But we're going to message every single person, and we're going to try and make a spa day out of it. Granted, we're going to be like busy for the rest of our lives, but that is how you do business. So we haven't thought of an exact script or anything like that, because we haven't, we just put out the containers yesterday. So we'll go back in a couple of days and see if it's gotten any hits or whatever. And, the people around are really helpful. So like, we walked into Sunblast and I was like, hey, so I was told I could put my thing right there. And I picked out a spot, and they were like, oh, okay, sure. Like, they had no questions, because I walked in there acting like I knew what the heck I was doing. So I was like, if I have to pull the whole Spanish card, I'll pull it. But like, I'm putting my thing right there. We're like, that's where it's going. And they were just like, okay, cool, thanks. Like,
and at one of the other places that we went to, the bartender literally put it, you guys, in the middle of the bar, like on the bar top.
She moved their stuff.
Yeah.
Just to put our box right there.
Which, like, hello, can you imagine how many drunk people are going to be like, what? Free spa day? Like, hell yeah, and put it in there. You know what I mean? So get creative about the places that you're asking to. We have one at a dispensary. Hello. Like, get creative. And then the other thing that I wanted to add on to what you were saying was, I wanted to just preface by saying, don't waste your time, like, walking around to different businesses. Just call in advance and ask for the manager. And I can literally send you the script. I basically, like, the first time read off of this. I have it memorized now, but like, of what to basically ask the manager and how to ask to have it placed there. But you guys, I called like 20 places. Some didn't answer. Some the manager wasn't available. Some people told me no, and that's okay. A lot of people told me yes. And we're going to get our faces in front of so many people because of this. So we'll keep you posted on like how it's working, how many we're getting scheduled. Like, I want to run all the logistics and numbers as to how much of an ROI, for lack of better words, we're getting off of that. But again, stepping outside of our comfort zone. No good is going to stay. Like, we've been living the definition of insanity, this team has, for the last 6 months. Like, we've been doing the exact same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. It's time to wake up, and it's time to realize that things are changing. And Nat and I were talking about last night, people are going back to the way that things used to be. Okay, people are wanting more one-on-one interaction, in person, face-to-face. People don't want it to be through a screen anymore. There are so many scams out there, like we were saying earlier, that you have to build that trust. And the easiest way to do that is to get them in face. The other thing is that you were saying, like, introduce yourself to the manager. So you want to make sure when you have a place that says yes, I knew exactly who I talked to. So we walked into All Mine Frozen Yogurt, and I was like, hey, my name's Alexa. I talked to Dawn last week about putting our promotional box up here. Where would you like us to place it? Or whatever. You know what I mean? So make sure that you know who you're talking to. And then the only other thing that I wanted to add is the worst thing that they can say is no. Don't be afraid to call. Literally, the first places you're going to want to look is you're going to want to pull up Yelp, put in your zip code, and you're going to call every freaking company on that list. Pull up the Chamber of Commerce. Again, creativity, right? So if you don't know how to do this, text me, message me. I will help you. I will show you exactly what I did, but don't overcomplicate it. This is so simple. You're making a phone call, asking the question. You drop off the box. You come pick it up every once in a while. You text the people, and you schedule the event. That's it. Even if it was just like an every weekend thing that you did. Like on every Saturday, you want to make sure that you have a wrap party scheduled. I want to make sure from now on that I have at least 1 to 2 a week scheduled. We did 1 week's work literally in one night. In an hour and a half, we did a week's work. It takes 7 to 21 times of follow-up before someone signs, and they signed on the spot. Think about that for a sec. Think about how much work was taken away just from scheduling an appointment. Okay. Okay, let's everybody drop your questions. I'm going to pause the recording really quick just while you do that, and then I'll jump into them.
And it's trial and error. Like, we were so nervous about everything in general, the promotion boxes, the wrap party. We were nervous, but what we talked about going into the wrap party was, you know, we're going to trial and error. This is our first time. We have to commend ourselves for even trying to do it. And you go in there, we're going to figure out what works, what doesn't work, and we'll plan better for the next time. Same with the promotion boxes. If you walk into a store and somebody's like, oh, hey, that's a lot bigger than I thought it would be, I don't know if we can have it on our counter or whatever, that's fine. Just say, oh, no problem. I'll come back with the smaller one. Sorry, this is all I had left. And then go to Dollar Tree and get one of those tiny boxes or whatever. Because like, we went to a frozen yogurt place and they had a ton of counter space. Right next to them, like in the same building where they have one of those open walls, was a pizza place. And I was going to just walk over there and ask the manager if we can just leave another one since we had all the extra ones in the car. Well, and then I looked around. There's no counter space except for their register. There's not any counter space. So it might be harder for them to take a glass jar that's like this big, you know, like it might be hard for them to take that because they have all their stuff on this tiny, and I'm talking the friggin' thing was probably like this big. It was enough for the register. So that's what I have to say. You have to really like observe. And so when you get there, if you feel like, okay, they're probably not going to take this or whatever, go in there still being confident. Like I did in some blast where I was like, hey, I'm putting it right there. Like, is that still cool? Or like, hey, I'm here to drop this off. I spoke to Sarah and she was all right with it or whatever. And I'm just going to set it right over here. Is this in your way? Like, make them feel like they're a part of it by asking them like, hey, is this okay if I put it here? Like, this is enough counter space for you guys, right? This pizza place, we're probably going to have to go get a box and we're just going to keep it super simple or whatever. Have the smaller cards because the ones that I made are a little bigger and the ones I ordered were smaller. So we'll have the smaller cards, like just look, observe, and figure out what's going to work best for them while also getting your information out.
100%. And I think a lot of people, number one, I don't know if you guys have had sales experience. Drop a 1 if you've had sales experience before this. Just out of plain curiosity. Okay, literally like 3 people. So if you've done sales before, and if you haven't, you're about to get learned. You always assume the sale. So when you walk into that wrap party, when you walk in to drop that promotional box, the sale's already done. You've already assumed the sale. Every time you message someone, you're assuming the sale. So when she's talking about where to place these boxes, when she's talking about, you know, talking to the people at the wrap party for a potential loyal customer while I'm handling the distributors, like and we've been talking so much about confidence on this Zoom, and I'm just beating it into the bush because you guys having that confidence, knowing what you're talking about, and having assumed the sale already is what is going to make that a successful wrap party for you. The other thing that I wanted to say is don't go into it thinking that you're going to sign everybody every time. It's okay if you don't sign anyone. Just because you went and you did that does not mean it's a waste of time if nobody signs. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't be discouraged. It's not about you. Remember, we're looking to help other people. So that's why you don't walk out without anyone's contact information. You already have their numbers. Who cares that you didn't sign anything from that wrap party? You now have 5 new potentials for people that you're going to call to try and schedule the same thing. Right? So it's just feeding through your tunnel. And that's kind of what we call it, is like you have to constantly be filling your funnel because it's big at the top, right? And it's small at the bottom. So some people are going to fall through. But if you're not constantly pouring something into the top, you're going to run out. Your funnel has to stay full. Your hundreds list has to stay full. And if you're not getting it through messaging, you're not getting it through posting, then you better be belly to belly. It's one of the other. And frankly, I really, really hope, like I said earlier, that you guys don't think that this is me saying to slow down on social media. We are going to keep doing and tripling our efforts on social, but you're also going to be tripling your efforts in other areas, whether that's pop-ups or try-its or wrap parties. I don't care what it is, but get in front of people. Okay. Any other questions?
Whatever, like just ask questions, prepare yourself, because we went into this literally planning 10 minutes before the party. And we were like, we're just going to go off what we know, and it seemed to have worked. So just if you think of it later on, ask, don't be afraid.
It was so fun, you guys. Moral of the story, it was such a blast. Nat, I'm sure you can just text Krista that one, yeah. I'm gonna stop the recording.